Welcome to The Real Generation Gap. I'm Rudy Ruiz.
I'm Fred Satilli.
And today we're going to be discussing The Royal Tenenbaums by Wes Anderson. This movie is from 2001 with one of the most stacked ensemble casts of all time, probably. And this follows the story of a dysfunctional family of geniuses. And when their father, Royal Tenenbaum, played by Gene Hackman, gets sick, they all come together. Well, it's him getting sick, and then his ex-wife, Angelica Houston, about to marry Danny Glover, and they all come together in the same house, and I guess some hilarity ensues, I suppose. Why'd you pick this, Fred?
A little dark for you? Is it a little dark for you?
No.
Yeah,
not at all.
Gene Hackman wasn't really sick.
Yeah.
He faked cancer. And then
Is that a Tic Tac? I love that.
The great part of it, that was his medications where Tic Tacs were in the medicine bottle. And he picked stomach cancer. He didn't realize that Danny Glover's wife died from stomach cancer and like in horrible agony.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got a little stomach cancer, you know, just making the hate more. But I picked this because, first of all, I do love Wes Anderson, and we did review Asteroid City here, and I love the Grand Budapest Hotel a lot. So but this movie, Luke Wilson, Owen Wilson, I wear this shirt because it makes me feel like Owen Wilson.
Okay,
because it's that kind of like look at him in the thing with the cowboy hat and everything. And also in the movie, he had an Austin Healey 3000, which was like my high school car.
Oh, okay.
So I have a romantic connection with that. And just look at Ben Stiller's kids that they cast. It's so great. But every actor in it is great, and the parts that they have. And it's funny because in the intro you said it's a family of geniuses. It's funny, okay? Gwyneth Paltrow wrote some play when she was like in the 9th grade, and it was a success, right? But anybody might do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it was the one of them, I guess, Luke will.
Yeah, Luke Wilson is Richie, the tennis player.
He's a tennis player, and you're not a genius if you're that.
You
just happen to be, God reached down and gave you a thunderbolt, right?
Yeah.
That's a line from another movie.
And I'll be honest, I was listening to an interview with Wes Anderson, and that's how he described it, so I just took it from so that's why I said that.
Well, that's the concept, right? And of course, Ben Stiller, he was like a financial genius. Like he was doing like accounting when he was 6 years old and, making that. So he apparently made money, but they all still lived home more or less. They were all connected. And Angelica Houston, who's always good. I mean, she's done so many great parts. She had become like a city archaeologist. So this is shot in New York City. And they're digging down, like when they build buildings, they start to dig and then they find like, indigenous tribe graveyards and stuff like that. So she's doing that, which is really weird. And then Royal Tenenbaum had been a wealthy lawyer. He had some kind of law career where he did real well. And he's not a people person. He abandons his family. In this day and age, I talk about the autism spectrum.
Right.
And everybody has something that they're good at or not good at or comfortable with or not comfortable with. So he was a guy who he didn't have any use for his family. I got my OCD is kicking in. Straighten the table out a little bit against the TV there. Straight that.
Yeah, my chair might be blocking it.
All right. There we go. That's better. Yeah, so he's this horrible guy, right? Now, he runs out of money. His law career is over. He runs out of money. He's been living in a hotel for 20 years. And he wants to move back in with his wife. But they're estranged for 20 years. And he's not a family man. And he's not even really a good guy. He's like a kind of a creepy, dishonest, materialistic or whatever, and it's just a great big mess. Now, all three of the kids, their careers are over. The girl hadn't written the play in many, many years. The tennis player had this weird meltdown on the court. The business guy his wife had died, and now he was overprotective of his sons. So you just focused on their every move, everything they did. He was a wreck emotionally. And Owen Wilson, he was the friend who lived across the street. He was in love with Gwyneth Paltrow, but so was Luke Wilson, because she was the adopted sister, right?
And Royal always introduced her as the adopted
this is my adopted daughter.
She
resented that.
Yeah.
This is my adopted daughter, Margot Tenenbaum.
And then even Danny Glover, he was the family accountant. And now he had pretty much fallen in love with Anjelica Huston, and he knew the whole family very well, but he was timid about approaching her. And then she was timid about accepting the approach because she hadn't slept with anybody for 20 years and pretty much written that off in her life.
Yeah.
So it was like, well, like we could be a couple, but a couple of what? So nobody was moving forward. It was a complete retrograde of all these people. The guy who I liked most was Kumar Palana, the guy who was Pagoda. He was the family retainer.
Yeah.
And he was secretly like the agent of Royal Tenenbaum, who was like, he wasn't visiting his family, but he was getting updates. Like, how they doing? How they doing, right? And the funniest thing ever was when he stabbed him with the penknife.
Right.
Because just so you know, their backstory is, it seems to me like people from India seem very loyal. Like when you see them in movies and they're like a soldier, they're willing to fight to the death. You know, they're willing to fight against a gun guy with a sword. You know, they have that kind of incredible. And so he tells his grandchildren, he says, he carried me on his back all the way to the hospital and I had been stabbed. And they said, "Oh, somebody stabbed him." No, he stabbed me. He was a hired killer.
Yeah.
So he stabbed him, and then he took him to the hospital, and somehow they bonded. Right? Then he was the family retainer all those years. And then when they ran out of money and the jig was up, and they had to become elevator operators, he stabbed them again.
Yeah.
You know? And with a tiny penknife. It's like ah. But I remembered the movie being much funnier. But when I saw it this time, it kind of hit too close to home. For me, I was like, boy, these people are all sad. This is a sad story. There's nothing, there's no redeeming thing. Nobody, you know, at the end, a few of them sort of like said like, I think I need help.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think I'm like, I realize I'm like, one guy had a drug addiction problem. You know, the Ben Stiller had he was grieving his wife. Right. And then Gene Hackman, he was like, oh yeah, you had like that wife thing or something. Like it's so dismissive of everybody's problems. And then he admits, she says, "Why did you come back?" He goes, "Oh, I ran out of money." It's like, oh my God, you're such a dirtbag.
Yeah.
You know? But the line that I remembered and I liked it again. And Gene Hackman realizes that he's not coming home. And he realizes that his wife is going to marry Danny Glover. And they're actually having the wedding, you know? And, He comes to terms with this. And he even tells Danny Glover, like, I don't want you to hate me. Like, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
You know, but at one point, right at the end there, he turns to Anjelica Huston and he goes, you know, it took me a long time, but I finally get it. He's everything I'm not. And man, in my real life, I see that frequently. You know, people who have some situation. I mean, it's like being a reformed alcoholic. Right? Like they really turn, you know, they become where they can't have a social drink or they don't even like anybody who is having one.
Right.
You know, and it's the same thing here. He's like, well, that's a real nice guy and I'm a rotten guy and good on you. Like good, you know, you at least you lifted yourself out of this. But I don't know that it's worth seeing. Like I wanted you to see it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to review it, but to everybody out there, I don't know. It was depressing for me.
Yeah, I did see this when it came out. I haven't watched it since. And for me, and I am glad I watched it again because I always give Wes Anderson a chance. I just cannot, like his movies just don't resonate with me. And I've seen quite a few of them. Right. You know, I've seen.
Well, you did see the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, I've seen Grand Budapest. And I remember like, I liked it enough, you know, like I don't actively dislike any of his movies, but they just don't impact me in that big a way. You know, I've seen that. I've seen Moonrise Kingdom, Rushmore, the Life Aquatic, the Island of Dogs. I feel like I'm missing one or two other ones. The Fox one. Yeah. And I mean, it just doesn't really work for me, but I do appreciate him as a filmmaker, an auteur filmmaker, someone that clearly has a vision, and all of his movies are literally their own genre. You know, their own genre, the Wes Anderson movie.
You know, it's true. It's true. But I had a little weird vision while I was watching it. It was almost like it's almost a Woody Allen movie without the comic neurosis.
Mm-hmm.
You know how Woody Allen's always like the comic neurotic?
Mm-hmm.
And it's always like a sad story too, like a weird slice of life that's not pretty, but he's got that quirky thing going on, even if he's not in it. Like it's still that like quirky neurotic. These people didn't have that. They weren't the quirky neurotic. Maybe Gwyneth Paltrow a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, just a weird that even a movie like this was made, because that means a whole bunch of society is like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't like people said like, I don't know anybody like this. I watched a movie. It was like, I know too many people like this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, people that are just hanging on to either their dignity or their sanity or their self-respect by a thread. And all the young people were,
Mm-hmm.
you know, she was like the nymphomaniac, weird, like the super sad,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the grieving guy, the washed up tennis player, everybody was all washed up.
Yeah. And
and the mom trying to hold them together.
Yeah.
Like I got my whole family in the house here or something.
Well, that's what makes it interesting is Wes Anderson takes those themes. And I feel like that's pretty consistent through like several of his movies. I want to say there's some kind of estranged family element, you know, like a father estranged from a son, the whole family, or, you know, the one with the brothers. And so there's something there with that. Like he's tapping into something and he can cover these themes and ideas you're talking about, but in a really interesting and for most people entertaining and creative way. I mean, just nobody, as far as I know, shoots or decorates like him, and you just know all the colors and details are so intentional. Even I think about when Luke Wilson's talking to Owen Wilson, who co-wrote the movie with Wes Anderson, by the way,
which is really weird.
Yeah. Well, I think the three of them were like college roommates, Luke, Owen, and Wes. Like they all came up together. I think they all like wrote Bottle Rocket too, but well, don't quote me on that. But you know, I think about when he's in his place talking to Richie, and he's, you know, sitting there, and there's like the weird big paintings behind both of them, and again, just his costuming, like everything is so detailed, and of course the symmetrical shots and the use of like really pastel-y colors and his kind of panning shots, and just the little quirkiness of everything is it's very interesting, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. Like, man, even the whole opening prologue introducing all the characters as kids,
but with the Beatles song playing the whole time in the background, the soundtrack of this is horrible.
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't mind the Beatles song in the back. It was
Hey Jude, right?
Yeah. I didn't mind that aspect of it, but the way it's put together and constructed, I just think is pretty interesting, pretty unique. You know, kind of setting the stage for the rest of the story. And but it just ultimately is not for me. So I like that he has a vision. I like that he brings something of his own style to the table, you know, with all of his movies. And I think most people would consider this the first of his features to really go all in on like his whole signature kind of vibe. Because Rushmore definitely has some of that. And then Bottle Rocket to a lesser extent. So I think this one is probably one of his most popular movies, I would think. And I think is credited with being kind of that point of like, oh, this is Wes Anderson in full auteur form, you know?
Right. I think of it as this movie, The Grand Budapest Hotel, and then Asteroid City as being like his total evolution. You know, like he got bigger and bigger and then weirder. And so, I don't know. I just thought it was a good one to look at and share with you. And I'm gonna, if on a rating, I'll give it like a 5.
Oh, I thought you'd be even higher. Yeah. But in the past you were probably higher, right? You said this time you felt differently about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be in that. I would say 5 too. I'm glad I saw it again. It's not quite for me, but like I said, I appreciate the filmmaking behind it and the actors and everybody. And sorry if I offend any Wes Anderson fans, because I know, because they're very loyal. I'm going to give a little anecdote real quick. Like there's one time I was going to shoot a short film in the desert somewhere, and the crew and we were in a van. So we rented a van with all the gear. We're all driving together to get a shot at sunset. So it's the middle of the night. We're leaving LA. And somehow we're talking movies and someone brings up Wes Anderson. And all I said was the same kind of thing. Oh, I appreciate what he does, but his movies just don't quite work for me. And I keep watching them, but They just
and
never,
that ruined
they never
the whole
hit.
weekend for you.
And the driver got so mad at me. Like, you would think I was there just like hating on Wes Anderson, but the driver was like, hey man, if you don't like it, we don't need to talk about it anymore. Like, that's it. Just, I don't even know why you're talking about it. Just leave it alone. It's all good. Like, just stop. And I'm like, all right, dude, you
push a button.
Yeah. I was like, cool. You really love Wes Anderson.
That happened to me once with Bear Bryant.
Okay.
I said, when Bear Bryant died, I said, like, I don't even know why this is news. Who gives a crap? And the guy,
someone went crazy.
He had his son going to college there, you know. It was terrible. Terrible when that happens.
Yeah.
You got to watch yourself.
Weird.
It's an easily offended world, especially now.
Right. Yeah, that was a grown-ass man, too. I was like, all right, dude. Okay. Sorry.
But I think it's worth a review. I think it's seriously worth... I kind of, like I said before, I don't really know that I recommend it. It's not a you got to see it, but I don't know. If you like that kind of thing... It's a very dark, it's not even a comedy, is it? I wouldn't call it a dark comedy.
I'd call it a comedy.
Like a dark drama is kind of a comedic drama.
It's got
a dark comedic
It's got a
drama.
lot, it's got a lot of comedy in it, I'd say. I didn't laugh too much, but I did like when Gene Hackman's talking to the kids and he's like, oh, I'm sorry about your mother. She was an attractive woman. Yeah. It's such a weird thing.
Well, the great thing with Hackman was when he took the kids on the rampage where they did every dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And then they had a callback at the end of the movie. Now Ben Stiller was on the garbage truck, sneaking a ride on the garbage truck. That was kind of cute.
Yeah.
But the Royal Tenenbaums, it's a kind of a one of a kind too. I guess that's all we have to say about it. I don't want to grovel for hits and likes and whatever you see in every single YouTube video till you're nauseated. So that's as much of that as I'm going to do on this one. And we'll see you next time.